In this video, we're going to focus on how we can create here, as you can see here, these legends with individual colors here. And when we click on them, nicely these things will disappear, or the dataset will disappear and appear. And you can see here the strike through will also be in a nice matching color as well. So let's start to explore how to color the legend text based on the dataset in Chart.js. So first of all, what we need to do is we need to go to chartjs3.com, getting started, this specific link here, because we're going to grab our default code. This link you can also find in the description box. Let's scroll down here and just copy this entire chunk of code. And if you want to understand what this code does, make sure you watch this video here that explains it all. So then what I want to do is just paste it all in there, and then I'll just cut out this title here and paste the title in there. Save that, refresh, there we are. So now we have our bar chart. I will just convert it into a line chart because it will be probably more appropriate for that. And let's put it here. We say line. If I say this, there we are. Next, I will add up another data set. So we have 2 or 3 colors that we can use. So we're going to paste that and paste that one as well. And then we can just say here, this one will be a green line. So we say here background, we can just basically remove everything, including the brackets. I'll just copy this, replace that here, convert this into a number 1. Border width can be removed as well. We don't need this because we want to have a nicer, thicker border. Next one here, and then let's give this green. We say this is green. This will be blue. So let's grab here this blue color, cut out everything else, or remove everything else. Same here. Alright. And then finally here is the red color, so I'm going to cut out that one, replace that all. There we are. So what I want to do, just to make sure we have, of course, different colors, so the lines need to be slightly different or else we cannot see them. They will overlap. So we have this, and we say here 10, 20, 10, 20, 10, 20, and then 9. That's alright. Alright, so you have this one finally here, red. Save that, refresh. Now we have 3 different ones here. So if you would like to make this more elastic, so that's possible. Scroll down here, so we're going to say here, tension equals 0.4, so we get a more curved line and elastic effect. Alright. So what we have here, you can see here, I forgot this one to make it transparent, or at least a alpha value, but I think it's more appropriate to have it like that. So what we have here now is our lines, and what we want to do now is continue on, and I remove this border width here. Alright, so continue on with creating the legend. So now we have the legend here, or these, we're going to put them in here. So the first thing what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say here in the options, we say plugins, and then in the plugins we're going to say legend, and in the legend we're going to create our first item. Basically, we need to customize our legend because by default, we're not able to do it. We need to do it in the labels. Because here we would say color, and this color would be, for example, blue. If I save this, refresh, it will attract them all. And you might say, alright, if I just do an array, problem solved. And then we say here, red, if I do this, problem is not solved, it just doesn't recognize. It only recognizes a single value. So we need to have a workaround here. And this workaround is quite extensive, so get ready. So we're going to say here generate labels. And basically what we're going to do here is create a callback with the labels here. So this means basically we're going to create a new HTML label for every element. And the label is basically the box and the text here all together. So let's start and work on that. So what we're going to do here is the following. We say generate label, and this is a callback functionality. We're going to say a chart, and then we make here a function error expression. So within this, we can now start to work. If I do a console log chart, you will be able to see what exactly is going on. So save that, refresh. Then you can see here we get it 3 times, which is correct because we have 3 items. And right now you don't see the legend. So what happened now is the legend is not being returned, because we didn't indicate to return any value. We only said we want to get these values in the console log here, and we have this here, and you can see here nicely we get the information here. And what is very important for us is basically the information of our data. You can see here the data, and then in the data sets here you can see here these colors, and this is an array, or each data set is a independent array, which makes sense of course, because basically this here is what we just did here. They're identical, so that's the reference to. So you can see here we have all these values, but we don't care about the values. We do care about the background color, border color, and the label. So let's start to extract those specific values. So what I want to do here for now is I'm going to say here enter, and then we say here return. We're going to return something. What we're going to return now is basically all these data sets here, but then we will loop through them individually to create of course 3 separate labels. So what I'm going to say here is the following: chart.data.datasets.map, and then what I'm going to say here data set and comma index. So is it necessarily comma index? Depends, but I think in our case we might need it eventually for the click effect, because what happened with this is the following. In Chartjs, when you click on the legend, it will hide and unhide the item. We have to generate that kind of effect as well. Plus, then you have the strike through. When you click on it and it doesn't show, it should have a strike through effect. So we need to have that as well. So we're going to basically create a whole unique legend that works exactly the same as the other one, except here we have independent color for every item. So what we're going to do now is we have this here, then here. Alright, so pay attention here, because this can be slightly tricky. We have here this data set here. We have here 2 parentheses. Alright, and then just for the sake of it, to make it a bit more clear, I'm going to do it like this. And then here I have another parentheses eventually, and that parentheses will be with this. Sorry, no, not with that, sorry. Sorry, that is correct, because we have to have this one. So alright, so you can see here, even I'm getting confused. There we are. That's the one I need. So what I'm really doing is the following. You can see here, maybe this would be more clear like that. What's really happening here, I put in here this parentheses, and this parentheses is nested with that one. Alright. And here we have these parentheses here to enclose this, and then we have another parentheses here specifically for basically our object with information for our legend. So what I want to do here now is to say the following. We are returning specific values. So I'm going to say here text, and within this text I want to grab here basically the dataset label, or the text. You can see here red. So what I need to go is from datasets here. However, we have this already, and this is the reference with this. So I'm going to say here this dot label. Once I did this and save that and refresh, you can see here now we get the text here. Of course, when we click on it, nothing works and the colors are not matching. So what we need to do here, put a comma, and then we will do the next one is the, let's say we're going to get the background color, so we say fill style. Then we're going to say here again the data set. And let's look at it. Click on this. We go in here, and then we go into specifically the data object. There we are. Data set. What do we need next? Background color, border color. So we can get now everything here. Say this equals that. And then we have the next one is the here's the fill. This is for the background color. But if you want to color the borders of this, because if I save this, you will see now. Alright, unexpected token. Of course, we need to make sure there's a comma here. And that one, the lower one, doesn't really matter. But you can see here we are missing a proper border color here. So we need to assign the border color as well. For that, we need to say stroke style for the border color, and then we just change this to border color. Save that. There we are. Alright, so now the border color and basically the transparency here, what I had here, was identical, so it doesn't matter so much. So the background color and the border color are exactly identical in this case. Of course, you can change them here. If we do this here, background color, you will see that this is 0.2. There you are. So now we get this nice color here. Alright, next one, let's put a comma here, and then what we need here is basically the font color. So the font color will be as well, we can say your data set dot, and then what we're going to do here is just the border color. Save that. refresh. Now you can see we have now all these fonts in a proper color as well. But of course, if you click on it, nothing works. It doesn't hide. So let's start to do now the hiding effect. So the hiding effect is in the legend here. We have to go put in your enter, and I'm going to say here we're going to create a basically an onclick event. And in Chart.js they have the object called onclick with capital C. So pay attention, the capital C here. So this is not a small letter. The reason why the small letter is a specific JavaScript function, and this with capital C is built for Chart.js only. So what I want to do here is the following. I want to grab here the 3 parameter event, legend item, and the legend. And then of course this is a callback, so put in here a function arrow or arrow function expression. Then here we're going to start to work. And what I really want to do here first of all is just to show you these items. If you click here on the event, save that, refresh, alright. And then now if I click on it, you can see what happened. We don't get an error, and it does, nothing happens here, but it does recognize our click. You can see it shows us what the event is and the x and y coordinates. And basically what we really need to do here is the following. We need to figure out are we clicking within the x and y coordinates where we have, for example, green. Are we clicking on green, blue, or red? So that's what we really need to know. So if you do the legend item here, and then save that and refresh, if I click on this, you will see here now what we do get is the specific text. And this text here is going to help us later on. So I'm going to grab this one now, put it here and save that. You can see here now we get this. Green, blue, red. Alright? So this information is going to be very helpful later on. So I'm going to keep this piece of code to make sure that we have that later on. The next one I want to show you is eventually the legend itself. So I'm going to say legend, save that, refresh. Alright, so with the legend, if I click on this, we will get all the information here. And what I really need here now is basically, well, let's see if it's the metasets. No, it's not the metasets. What I basically need here is the legend items. So let's see here, where are you, legend items? So let's see, where is the legend items? Should be somewhere the L. We have here the legend. Hold on, I'll just check quickly. Alright, so I found it. Well, I was searching for it. Oh, what happened here? I don't want to do that. Let's go back here and click and go to console log. So where it is here, we have to go to legend, and then in the legend, we have here the legend items. And the legend items will eventually show us all the information here. So this is very important for us, because this information will help us grab all the necessary information. So what I want to do now is basically then following, because what I want to do here is get all of these text here and just only do one thing. I want to make an array of this, and this array will help us to show in which index that we clicked on. That's basically what I want to do here. So I want to grab this text, and then, and remember, you say here legend items. Don't get confused with legend item singular. The other one is with an S here. So this has all the items. Well, this one only will select the one we clicked. And so what we're going to do now is basically a specific functionality for this. Alright, so let's start to create the functionality for this so that we can just extract or get the ID number matching with that. So what I want to do here is the following. I'm going to say here constant data sets. So we're going to get the data sets, and then say here legend dot, and then how we get there once again through legend. And then we say here dot, how do we get there is the legend items. Where are we? There you are. And then what I want to do here is basically grab the item here, legend items, and then we can do here dot map. So we're going to create the map functionality. Then we say here for every data set, I'm going to also grab the index and then function arrow expression here. And then what I want to do here is the following. Alright. What I want to return is all of these text here, specifically from the legend items with their index number. So I'm going to say a data set, and then this data set will be, we say return dataset dot, and then here we grab, is that the text if I'm not mistaken? Yes, the text. There you are. Copy that, Once I did this, and I do now console log and just say check the datasets. Save this, refresh. Alright, console log did not work because we are outside of the entire structure here. So we have this. Let me double check here. This is our map functionality. Console log. This should be it. What am I missing here? Save that. Let's try it one more time. Alright, hold on. Alright, I got it. Sorry about that. So, of course this works, but the reason why what I was looking at the loading here. So that has confused me, because what we need to do, of course, is clicking on it. And the reason why is we have a onclick functionality here. So, this works. So what I want to do now is basically here, we have now the data sets here, but what I want to grab is not the data set. I need to know when we click on the one, which one did we click on, which index did we do we need to extract. So remember we had this legend item here. So what I'm going to do here is basically the following. I'm going to say here now, and I saw this here, this should be properly indented as well. Alright. Now what I'm going to do here is the following. I'm going to say here, constant, I'm going to grab the index, or we want to figure out the index. So to do this, what we need to do here is, we have this item here, and all I want to do is, in this array, I want to say here, go search in this array, and there's an index of, so we're going to extract the index of whatever we have clicked on, which was tracked by this one here. Once we do this, I can do a console log for the index, and you will see that we will get now a very nice response. Save that. Click number 2, number 1, and number 0. So we get the index here, and this will help us now. So we have this now done, and this is going to help us to do the following. And what exactly? Well, first of all, it must understand here, when we click on one, which item do we want to hide. If we click on this blue one, we want to make sure it's hidden, but if it's hidden, I want to click again to toggle it so it will be shown again. So now what we're going to do here is create an if statement. And this if statement will be very straightforward. We're going to say a legend, and basically it's like a toggle structure, but we're going to say legend.chart, and then here we're going to use a function. So is dataset visible, or basically this is a special command built in Chart.js. And then here, if visible, which index, the one whatever we clicked on, if this equals true, in that case what I want to do here is I want to say here the following. I want to make here the legend.chart.hide the index. So I'm going to hide that specific one. If that's not the case, so else, I want to do exactly the opposite here. Then we say here, show it. So once we did this, we can save this now. Let's remove this here, all this excess baggage here, remove that. Alright. Save that, refresh. Click on one, and you can see they're now nicely disappearing and appearing. Alright, so now we have this, but you might notice, where's the strike through effect? So now we have this, and this structure, it will be very similar here later on. So what we're going to do here now is, basically we're going to use the same one. The only thing here now is I'm going to say let visibility, which will basically say, alright, we have an array here, a blank array, and we're going to make sure that there's a visibility which creates the strike through effect. So the moment we click on it, it should be visible or strike through, yes or no. So if it's visible, show it no strike through. If it's not visible, like this, strike through the green color. So what I want to do here next is the following. We're going to say here for, and I'm going to make here for loop. We'll say here let I equals 0, and then let's focus on there. And then what I will say here, if I is, keep on looping I as long as it is smaller than what exactly, well, chart, well, basically this one here. You can get here chart.datasets dot length, semicolon I++, and then we have here now the if statement. So this is our for loop. We will loop through all these data sets, and then afterwards we're going to make an if statement. In this if statement will say the following. Say if chart is data set visible, in that case, which index number we're referring to? Well, the index of I. Remember, that's why you have the for loop here. So if this is true, or if this is, let's say, if this is equals strict false, in that case, what I want to do here, I want to say visibility, which is the array here, and then we're going to push a value in there. And so what I want to push is the following. They push true, and else we're going to say visibility push false. So once we have this, we save this. We're not done yet, even though if you click on it, it doesn't show here yet. Why doesn't it show? Well, we need to put in here a last command. The last command is called hidden. If we set this on false, it will be always like this. If we set this on true, save, you can see here now there's strike true. However, remember we have this array here, and all I want to do now is to grab the array, put the array in here. So this is the index number, and the index number has this here, or the visibility plus the array index number, whatever we want to show, depending on the type of the color of or the data set. So if I click now, there you are. Click, click, and there you are. So now we have this beautiful working legend with the colors on it as well. So if you enjoyed this video, and maybe instead of a strike through, you want to have like a fade in or fade out effect here, or a transparent and a or a shade and a unshade effect. In that case, I would highly recommend you to check out this specific video here, how to change the legend effect to shade and unshade instead of a strike through in Chart.js.